The pages are made of vellum, calf skin, scraped thin, and folded into quires. Someone wrote on them in an ink that has lasted 600 years. The handwriting is fluent, practiced. Whoever made this was not hesitating. The script looks like language. It has word boundaries, line breaks, paragraph structure. It follows statistical patterns that real languages follow. Letter frequencies, word length distributions, the absence of certain repeated structures. But no one can read it, not the cryptographers, not the linguists, not the historians, the botanists, the computer scientists, the amateur codebreakers, or the AI models trained on every known writing system. The Voynich Manuscript is 240 pages of confident, structured, beautiful text. And after a century of sustained effort, we do not know what a single word of it says. Here is what we can verify. In 1912, a rare book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich purchased the manuscript from a Jesuit college near Rome. He claimed it came with a letter, dated 1665, from Johannes Marcus Marci, a physician at the court of Rudolf II in Prague. Marci's letter mentioned that the manuscript had once been bought by Rudolf himself for 600 ducats, a serious sum, and it mentioned a prior owner, an alchemist named Georg Barisch, who had spent years trying to decode it, and failed. That letter is real. Radiocarbon dating of the vellum places it between 1404 and 1438. The ink is consistent with that period. The binding is later, probably 16th century, but the pages themselves are medieval. So the object is old, the writing is old, the mystery is old. But age doesn't tell you what something means. The manuscript isn't just text. More than half its pages carry illustrations. And the illustrations are unusual. There are plants, dozens of them, drawn with roots, stems, leaves, and flowers in careful detail. Botanical illustration was common in medieval manuscripts, but these plants do not match any known species, not one. Some are composites, the root of one plant, the leaves of another, a flower that exists nowhere in nature. Others are entirely invented. They look like plants. They are drawn as though they are plants, but they are not real plants. Then there are the astronomical diagrams, circular charts with what appear to be zodiac symbols, radiating lines, concentric rings. Some include small human figures, naked women, mostly, standing in pools or connected by tubes. The tubes connect to nothing identifiable. One section, the so-called biological pages, shows dozens of small female figures submerged in green and blue liquid, connected by an elaborate plumbing network. It looks like nothing else in medieval art. It looks like nothing else in any art. And then there are the recipes, or what appear to be recipes, short paragraphs beside drawings of jars, containers, roots, pharmacological, alchemical, we are guessing. The history of Voynich research is a history of intelligent people being wrong, with great conviction. William Newbold, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, announced in 1921 that he had decoded the manuscript. It was, he said, the work of Roger Bacon, the 13th century friar, and it contained descriptions of spiral nebulae, cellular biology, and other knowledge centuries ahead of its time. His decipherment was celebrated. It was also completely wrong. His method involved reading meaning into microscopic ink cracks. That turned out to be random degradation of the vellum. William Friedman, the man who broke Japan's purple cipher in World War II, one of the most accomplished cryptanalysts in history, spent decades on the Voynich. He assembled teams. He built statistical tables. He died without a solution. But he left a sealed envelope with his final hypothesis, that the text was an early attempt at a constructed language, an a priori philosophical language, like the ones Leibniz dreamed about. It's an elegant idea, It might even be right. But it explains nothing about the content. In 2014, a team at the University of Bedfordshire applied computational linguistics. They concluded the text was consistent with a natural language, possibly Hebrew or Arabic, run through some form of cipher. 2 years later, a different team said it was shorthand Latin. In 2019, another researcher claimed it was Proto-Romance. None of these claims survived peer review intact. The manuscript has been analyzed with ultraviolet light, infrared spectroscopy, multispectral imaging, and machine learning algorithms trained on corpora of medieval Latin, Arabic, Chinese, and dozens of other languages. Every analysis confirms the text has structure. It is not random, it is not gibberish, but that is all it confirms. What makes the Voynich genuinely strange, not pop culture strange, but mathematically strange, is what happens when you analyze the text as a system. Voynichese, as researchers call it, has an alphabet of roughly 20 to 30 characters, depending on how you count ligatures. It has a vocabulary of about 35,000 word tokens, using approximately 8,000 distinct types. Word lengths cluster around 4 to 6 characters. All of this is normal. This is what human language looks like when you measure it. But there are anomalies. The entropy of Voynichese, a measure of information density, is lower than any known European language. It is closer to Chinese, or to a highly structured artificial language. Words repeat more often than they should. Certain characters almost never appear in certain positions. And there is the label problem. Many of the botanical illustrations have short labels beside them, single words or short phrases. In every known herbal manuscript, these labels are plant names. If the Voynich labels were plant names in any known language, someone would have matched them by now. They haven't. The simplest explanation is that it's meaningless. A 15th century con artist, or a bored monk, or a court entertainer, created an impressive-looking manuscript full of invented script and fantastical illustrations. Perhaps to sell to a wealthy patron, perhaps to impress Rudolf II, who collected curiosities the way some people collect stamps. This explanation has real support. In 2003, computer scientist Gordon Rugg demonstrated that text with many of the statistical properties of Voynichese could be generated using a cardan grill, a 16th century encryption device. A card with holes cut in it, placed over a table of syllables. Move the grill, write down what you see. Move it again. The output looks structured, follows patterns, has word boundaries, and means nothing. It is a compelling demonstration, but it has a problem. Rugg showed you could generate text that resembles Voynichese. He did not show that Voynichese was generated this way. The statistical match is approximate, not exact. There's also the question of effort. The manuscript contains 240 pages of consistent writing, alongside 400 illustrations, some of them highly detailed. If it is a hoax, it is an extraordinarily labor-intensive one. The vellum alone, dozens of calfskin sheets, would have been expensive. The illustrations required skill. The writing is fluent and shows no signs of copying or hesitation. You can fake a page. You can fake 10 pages. Can you sustain 240 pages of consistent fakery with no mistakes, no corrections, no signs of uncertainty? Maybe. But it would be a remarkable achievement in its own right. The Voynich manuscript sits in the Beinecker Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale. You can view every page online, in high resolution. The raw material is completely accessible. There is no hidden chamber, no locked archive, no gatekeeping. The obstacle is not access. The obstacle is us. We have built systems that can translate between 200 languages in real time. We have decoded the genetic instructions for building a human body. We have read cuneiform tablets that spent 3,000 years under the sand, and we cannot read this. It is possible that someone, eventually, will crack it, that the right insight, the right computational approach, the right fragment of historical context will unlock the whole thing. Stranger breakthroughs have happened. It is also possible that it will never be read, that the knowledge required to decode it, the context, the key, the system, has been lost entirely. That the manuscript will remain exactly what it has been for 6 centuries, legible and incomprehensible. A book that looks like it is trying to tell you something, written in a language that no longer connects to anyone alive. Some problems don't have the decency to be solvable. The Voynich Manuscript may simply be a question that outlasts everyone who asks it.